Hello, good evening. Protesters have managed to stop the first deliveries of waste to Gloucestershire's new incinerator. Extinction Rebellion from nearby Stroud blocked lorries from entering the site from the start of the day. Of course, it's not the first time the incinerator has attracted protests. Has it, Liz?
Indeed, no. If you've travelled up the M5 in the last couple of years, you'll have seen it. It's the huge space-age building near Junction 12, and it's been years in the making. In 2009, Gloucestershire County Council first tried to find a new way to deal with its waste. In 2013, it signed a contract for an incinerator at Javelin Park, but later that year, the council's own planning committee rejected it. Then, in 2015, the Secretary of State overruled the council and allowed it to go ahead. Last year, protesters forced the council to disclose what will be burnt there, claiming the whole thing has been secretive. Well, today was supposed to be day one, but things haven't quite gone to plan. Martin Jones is there for us this evening. Martin.
Well, the incinerator does seem to have an almost endless capacity to get people fired up, doesn't it? And today is the first day that waste collections from Gloucestershire have ended up here. Now, although this incinerator has come a long way, it's not yet fully operational. It needs large deliveries of waste in order to conduct a test firing. And Extinction Rebellion, well, they're angry that material that could be recycled, so whatever gets thrown in people's black bins, could be burned here. And this morning, they mounted a challenge to that, saying that that breaches environmental rules.
We're worried that there's going to be reusables, recyclables and compostables in there, which then goes against the waste regulations, because we need to do all we can to prevent those being incinerated.
Now, as far as we know, no other incinerator has ever fallen foul of these rules, and many do work in the same way. Gloucestershire County Council says it has all the necessary permissions, and the lorries did eventually get in this afternoon. But the protesters' objections aren't just environmental, they're financial as well. The County Council itself says that it costs around £112 per tonne to have stuff burned here. Now, last year, the highest price paid anywhere in the country was £117 per tonne. So this is an expensive solution, although the County Council maintains that over its 25-year life, this will save around £100 million compared to putting it in landfill. Now, of course, we'd love to go and film in there, love to go and have a look at what's happening. We keep asking, they keep saying no. So instead, we've been to a nearby facility, a very similar one in Avonmouth. I've been to take a look at the Severnside Energy Recovery Centre.
They claim it looks like the Sydney Opera House, but it's not much of a tourist attraction. Even so, I've got an expert guide, site manager Tom.
Our crane driver is going to offload the empty one and reload the truck with a container from West London Waste Authority.
He tells me 400,000 tonnes of waste arrive here every year to be burned. 3/4 comes by train overnight from West London. It's all stuff people have thrown in their black bins. In an ideal world, it would have been recycled, but it hasn't been.
So Tom, describe to us what we can see here.
So this is the waste that has arrived from West London, and you can see a mixture of different waste from plastic bottles, glass bottles. It should be recycled here.
In the past, all this might have been dumped in landfill, where it emits the dangerous greenhouse gas methane. But here it's burned to create electricity.
So this is the furnace, Tom. How hot does it get in here?
So at the top of this furnace, it gets to 950 degrees Celsius.
950 degrees.
And that heat drives a turbine, generating power for up to 50,000 homes. That's why they believe this is really more like a power station than a waste plant.
Well, the process is essentially similar or the same as coal or gas. So we are using a fuel to generate heat, turn water into steam and drive a turbine. The only difference is that our fuel is waste compared to coal and gas.
I mean, people are often concerned about the emissions from plants like this. Are they right to be concerned?
On site, the biggest element of the plant is the flue gas treatment plant, where we control our emissions. And so by injecting lime to neutralise gases, having filters to remove dust, what actually goes to the atmosphere is mostly water vapour and carbon dioxide.
And Public Health England also told us they don't believe incinerators are a significant risk to public health, but they can't rule out adverse health effects completely. But we do know that people put all kinds of weird stuff in their waste, because not everything burns.
Who puts a gas bottle in their waste? I mean,
You'd be surprised.
and just where on earth does a huge bit of concrete come from?
Everything else becomes ash, which is used for road building.
Very well insulated.
They're proud of what they do here because they believe incinerating waste is better than dumping it. But what's burned here are irreplaceable natural resources, and they're going up in smoke. Martin Jones, BBC Points West,